Hi, you are at home with Mrs. Hocken, and here is the project we're going to work on today. It is going to be an underwater self-portrait. So a picture of you underwater with a buddy. So you're going to need some paper, a pencil. I'm going to use watercolors, but you know what? If you don't have watercolors and you do have markers, we can turn these into watercolors. No, we don't dip them in water, but I'll show you. It's a lot of fun. So you'll also need a brush, nice soft brush, some water, and some salt. All right, so go get your stuff and meet me back here. All right, to start our underwater self-portrait, we are going to first do our face. Now I'm going to leave a little room up here because we're going to add an animal friend, so I'm going to put my face right about there. So let's draw a U shape or a cup, and then we're going to add the handles, which will be your ears. Okay, then right across here, that's where the eyes go. So we're going to need to add 2 circles. Now, remember your 2 circles also have eyelids around them, kind of that football or that lemon shape that we have. If you want to include eyelashes, you can do that. You can also, and remember, make sure your circle is touching the lids on the top and the bottom. Then you're going to put the black part, your pupil, and a little spot for a reflection, your eyes. Then, instead of adding a nose, we're going to put your face mask on because you are underwater. So it's kind of a rectangle of sorts. It's got rounded edges. It's going to go down just a tad where the nose would be, and then across like that. And there we go. Now, your face mask will also have an inside edge to it, like so. And it might come up a little bit to go around your nose. All right, now that I have that on there, you can add your eyebrows. Your nose is covered up, and your mouth is just going to be open so that you can have your snorkel in there so you can be breathing. So I am going to just do the top. It's just a little half circle like so. And then I'm going to make the letter J, a big one. It's going to come down below the chin and then back up alongside your ear. Then the J has another side to it because it's a tube and we have to be able to breathe through it. So I'm going to erase that part of the chin and do the other side of our snorkel. And then on top of the snorkel, I'm going to give it just a little curve and another little stripe right there. So there we go. Probably the easiest mouth we have ever drawn, right? So next, you can give yourself a neck. Remember, you don't have a stick for a neck. You have 2 sides. It will come down on one side and go off the page. And then the other side, this is going to be behind the snorkel. So it'll come down and go off to the side. Now, depending on who you are, what kind of bathing suit you wear, I wear a one-piece, and it has straps that kind of go like this. And there we go. If you want, though, you can give yourself any kind of a bathing suit you like. It can be polka dotted, striped, whatever you want. So I can put some stripes on here even if I don't have a striped bathing suit. So there we go. Now we need our hair. And when you're underwater, your hair does not sit still. It's kind of dancing and flouncing around. And so my hair will probably be all over the place. And it's a little bit curly sometimes. So it's going to be kind of flopping around, almost like I'm in a wind machine here. Kind of crazy. And there we go. Now, I left this space up here so that you could add an underwater friend. Or maybe you just want to put some bubbles. You could add a fish, you could add a turtle, you could add a crab. Somebody I know added a shark, whatever you want. Google it. Look up animals that you like, and then you can look at them while you're drawing them. And we're just going to put a portion of it coming through. So I'm not going to see the entire animal. Maybe it's going to be just a fish swimming off. So maybe I will have my fish coming down. And I will give him some fish details as well. And his gills and a little fin. And I could add some bubbles going right off the page. So now I have me underwater and a little fish friend off on the top. And now we are going to get to the painting portion of it, okay? So I have my watercolors. Now, there's no peach color per se that matches my skin, so I'm just gonna do the best I can. This is how this works. This little tray that's right here, I'm gonna put it on top of my paper, because when you use watercolors, sometimes they look really dark in the little palette, but then when you try them, they're much lighter. For example, this turns out is kind of a goldish yellow, and it looks so dark. Some of these, it's even hard to tell what it is. For example, what is that color? Oh, it looks like it is kind of a brownish black. So you can test them out on your palette top before you start painting. All right, so my skin is kind of a peachy color, so I'm gonna go with this orange. And the nice thing about, see, and that's not what I want, because that looks too yellow. Let's try this one. That's closer. Now orange, when you add a lot of water to it, it's lighter and it becomes kind of a peach color, and that's close to what my skin color is. Here's a fun thing that you can do if you don't have watercolor. If I take my marker and I put some brown in my hair, I can then take my brush and go over it, and it becomes like watercolor. And there we go.
Baby shark, do-do-do-do-do, baby shark, do-do-do-do-do, baby shark. Mommy shark, do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark, do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark, do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark.
Daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark.
Grandma shark, do-do-do-do-do, grandma shark, do-do-do-do-do, grandma shark, do-do-do-do-do, grandma shark.
Grandpa shark, do-do-do-do-do, grandpa shark, do-do-do-do-do, grandpa shark, do-do-do-do-do, grandpa shark.
Let's go hunt, do-do-do-do-do, let's go hunt, do-do-do-do-do.
shark do 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 do. Grandpa shark do 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 do. Grandpa shark do 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 do. Grandpa shark. Let's go hunt do 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 do. Let's go hunt do 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 do. Let's go hunt do 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 do. Let's go hunt.
Baby shark. Baby shark.
Whole background is going to be painted with cool colors. I want you to stick with your blues and maybe a little bit of violet. Sometimes there's some green in the water as well, and you want to use a lot of water. And I'm going to show you a fun little trick that will create a nice little sparkling effect or star-like effect on your watercolors. So I'm going to put a little water on my cool colors, get them ready. So my blues, I have like 3 different kinds of blues here. I'm going to put some water on the paper, lots of water. You can almost see it. And then I'm going to start putting drops of this on here. And I'm going to let it just kind of spread and have some fun. And while it's still really wet, I'm going to sprinkle some salt on it. And what's going to happen is when it dries, it will dry with little sparkle snowflake type patterns and kind of like crystals. So that's what you want to do. Put down your water and then just start adding your cool colors. Remember, stick with your blues or colors that are cool, because if you start putting a whole bunch of colors together, we're going to end up with brown, and we don't want brown water. I don't know about you, but the water up here is nice and blue and I like it that way. All right, here we go.
Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark.
Daddy shark do 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 do. Daddy shark do 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 do. Daddy shark do 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 do. Daddy shark.
Grandma shark, do 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 do. Grandma shark, do 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 do. Grandma shark, do 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 do. Grandma shark.
Grandpa shark.
Now, I'm just going to let it dry, because what's going to happen is those crystals are going to go to work, and when this is completely dry, I will be able to dust them off and see the effects. So I would leave this for an hour or so and then come back and check on it. Once it has dried, you can take it and rub the salt off. And I'm holding it up close so that you can see some of the effects that that crystallization gives. It really does add a lot of nice texture to your water. So now that it's dry and I have rubbed off all the salt, there is one more thing that I want to do to call this picture finished. I'd like to go over it with a Sharpie for some of the smaller details that I couldn't get with watercolor or with marker.
Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark. Mommy shark.
All right, so now there you have it. We're all complete. A self-portrait underwater. All right, you are all ready for summer. So that's all we have time for today. Thanks for coming, and it's good to see you at home with Mrs. Hockin. Bye-bye.